great state of North Carolina, standing proudly with you to restore the American dream. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce the 50th Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance.
All right, as you see, stepping up to the microphone now is Vice President J.D. Vance. We did anticipate that he would be here at any moment, speaking there in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Let's listen back in.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Please take a seat, and we've got some time to spend with one another. So I want to first thank a few of the great people who are here who make this possible and are leading, I think, helping us lead America's and North Carolina's comeback. So first of all, to our great Senate candidate here in the state of North Carolina, Michael Whatley. Thank you, Michael, for everything that you're doing. For our great congressional candidate in this district, Lori Buckout. Where are you, Lori? Thank you so much. It's good to see you. An officer in our military and now a person who wants to serve this great district and actually do something good for the people of this district instead of just voting with Nancy Pelosi, which is exactly what Don Davis does every single day. He's in Washington, D.C. So, Lori, thank you. We're going to talk a little bit more about your race here in a second, but a lot of you know that this state has a very special place in my heart because I grew up in a poor family. I was raised by my grandmother, and then when I graduated from high school back in 2003, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, and I really spent the first 4 years of my adulthood not too far from here in the eastern part of our state, becoming a young Marine and frankly, becoming a young man. And I'll never forget one of the first major purchases I ever made in my entire life was when I wanted to buy, for the first time, I wanted to buy my own car as a young Marine. I was probably 19 years old. And I go to one of these off-base used car dealerships, and I find a Honda Civic. It's practical, it's cheap, it does everything I need it to do. And I'm going to get the dealer's low interest rate financing of 21%. And by the grace of God, I had a great United States Marine Corps gunnery sergeant, Gunny Arledge. I went back and I said, Gunny, I got a great news for you. He said, what? He said, I'm gonna buy my first car. He said, congratulations, Marine. That's a big step for a young Marine. He said, what's your interest rate? I said, 21%. And he nearly smacked me upside the head. And he said, stop being an idiot. And he didn't say that. He used more colorful language. But I said, we have a couple of young people out there. He said, go to Navy Federal Credit Union. And I got an 8% interest rate and bought my car without breaking the bank. So that was one of many lessons the state of North Carolina taught me. But what we're trying to do, I talk about the difference between a 21% interest rate that the used car dealer offered me and the 8% interest rate that I got offered at a credit union. And that's pretty much the difference between the Joe Biden and Donald Trump economic plan for the United States of America. Because in just a very brief time, we've seen new home purchases rise to their highest level in 5 years since the last time Donald Trump was president. We've seen the cost of rents drop for 6 months in a row. We've seen the average tax refund that's going to come to the people of North Carolina about $3,700 per family. And we see interest rates that are the lowest they've been since the last time that Donald J. Trump was president. My friends, the president is impatient. He's the most impatient person I have ever met, in fact. He constantly is pressing on the gas. He wants us to do more, but I stand here proud to say that after the first year of President Donald Trump and congressional Republicans' leadership, we are rebuilding the American dream and we are taking back this country for the people of this state. Now, there are a number of things that I'm proud of, a number of things I want to brag on, but I actually want to take a little bit of an audience poll because I was looking at some of the things that we put in the Working Families Tax Cut, this one big, great, big, beautiful bill. Now, that bill is over 1,100 pages long, and unlike most of these bills that are way too long, this is chock full of good stuff for the people of this district, the people of this state. But there are a few things in particular that I think are important for this state. Number one, that piece of legislation, the Working Families Tax Cuts, had the biggest tax cut for Social Security benefits that we've ever seen in the United States of America. Number two, it wasn't just Social Security recipients. Number two, that legislation had the biggest tax cut for people making under $100,000 that we have ever seen in tax legislation in this country. And number three, that wasn't in the Working Families Tax Cut, but one of the things I'm very proud of is that we forced all localities, whether they're red states or blue states, to report crime accurately so we could go to war against violent crime and the criminals who do that violent crime. Now those are three things, and on this part, I only want you to clap once, because again, I'm going to take an audience poll here. I'm going to ask you what your favorite of those three pieces of legislation, those three accomplishments are that we've had so far in the Trump administration. So if your favorite thing of those three is no taxes on Social Security, let me hear it. Okay? If your favorite thing is the biggest tax cuts for people making under 100K, let me hear that. Okay? And if your favorite thing is that we've gone to war against violent criminals, let me hear that. Okay. Now, I said only applaud once, and there's a guy up here. He applauded at least twice. He cheated the system, but I guess he wanted to save it. He wanted to save his applause till the very end. But we all heard the response. You know who did not clap for a single one of those great accomplishments of the Trump administration? Don Davis, because he voted against every single one of them. Don Davis voted against cutting taxes on Social Security. Don Davis voted against cutting taxes on those making under $100,000 a year. And Don Davis voted against going to war against violent criminals. Don Davis is not a man who stands for the people of this state or this district. He is a person who does exactly what Nancy Pelosi tells him to do. And in November, we're going to send him home and get him out of Washington, D.C. Now, the crazy thing, y'all, about a guy like Don Davis is, sometimes you meet a Democrat in a red district, and, I don't agree with him on everything. Of course, Democrats, Republicans disagree on politics from time to time, but you at least have some people out there, or maybe you used to, who would vote their conscience or vote the interests of their district. What makes Don so unusual is that we are in a common sense district here in the state of North Carolina, and this guy still votes every single time with Nancy Pelosi. In fact, I asked my team, I said, find a major piece of legislation, find something easy where Don Davis could vote against the Democrats and vote with his district, the moderates, the independents, even the conservative Democrats. Find me one example where this guy defied the leadership of his own party. He has never done that on any major issue that we could find. And here's just a layup, Don, an easy layup that we gave you. Frankly, it would have been bad for poor Lori's campaign chances, but he couldn't even take the bait on the Save America Act. Now, if you know anything about this legislation, what the Save America Act does is that it makes it impossible for illegal aliens to vote in our elections. Pretty common sense. Now, I think that's pretty easy, right? We don't want illegal aliens voting in our elections. My favorite thing is whenever I bring this up, you'll have some Democrat on TV who will say, well,